What up, y'all? It's your boy Rick, aka the People's Barber, International Wahl Educator. And today I'm gonna be showing you how to do a flawless fade using some of my favorite tools. So to start, I'm just gonna section off my mannequin's head and then work on blending the bottom. Let's go. So I like to start using damped hair. The cool thing about our Wahl clippers is that our clippers can cut hair, whether damp, wet, or dry. Personally, I like to damp the hair just a little to get it sectioned off. Just getting my hair sectioned around the perimeter of the head. Get this area clipped in place. Try to match it up as best as possible around the other side. Just get that clipped in place. And now we have a canvas that I can work with at ease. So now what I'm gonna do is just trim up all the surrounding perimeter of the hair with a number 3 guard. Using my Wahl 1919's 100-year anniversary clippers because they have a standard blade. The reason I'm not using any other blade or any other clipper right now is because I want this standard blade to be able to give me a nice, clean, blunt cut. Grabbing my number 3 guard, Wahl Premium, making sure it snaps on. Once it snaps on, we're good to go. I'm gonna close my lever, making sure it is a true number 3. Turning it on, starting from the bottom, working my way up. With my number 3 guard, lever closed, going around the perimeter of my client's hair. Note as I'm going, pulling up to the parietal ridge, I'm doing a small C-like motion, like so. I want to go like this so that I don't leave a really hard line of demarcation. I want that line to be as soft as possible. Just going around the remaining perimeter of the head. Now, once I get to the back, then I actually come back up front. The reason I do that is because I don't want to get lost in my guide. So I come back up to the front and then work my way right back to the back of the head, still using my number 3 guard. Feeding all the hair through the number 3, just to make sure it's as nice, clean as possible. Now that we've got the number 3 guard all the way around the perimeter of the head, what I'm gonna do is grab my number 2 guard, still keeping my lever closed at all times, and then I'm gonna clipper over comb the parietal ridge area to blend the number 3 into this overflow of hair right here. Then we'll drop this and trim the top up. holding my comb at around a 90-degree angle, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to get this blend as flawless as possible, simply with my number 2 guard on, clipper over combing the entire parietal ridge. Now, a lot of you guys right now are probably saying, Rick, why do you have a guard on? I've never seen anyone clipper over comb with a guard on. This is my safety net. I make sure to keep a guard on just in case I get a little bit too close to the head without a guard, then I'll put a hole in the head. I don't want that. So to prevent me from doing that, and to prevent you from doing that, just pop a guard on. I normally never go anything above a number 2. Number 2 is probably the biggest guard I'm gonna use when clipper over combing. Actually is the biggest guard I'm gonna use. And it just helps me and gives me, I guess we could say, a little bit of insurance, and helps me to prevent that I don't put a hole in my customer's hair. Continuing to use my clipper over comb technique with my number 2 guard to get the blend, once again, as flawless as possible. The comb is still at a 90-degree angle the entire time. All right, now that we got this blend as nice and clean as possible, what I want to do is show you guys a cool little trick. If there are some areas around the blend area, around your fading area, that you can't get clipper over comb on straight hair, you could actually put a larger guard on. I'm gonna pop my number 4 guard on, close my lever, making it a true number 4, and you can go down with the growth of the hair, similar to how you would with ethnic hair. But this gives it a bit of a different blending technique. What it does is it allows the hair to get blended in a little more softer, makes those lines of demarcation kind of go away a little bit, helps with the blending technique. Now, if this is your first time trying it, I highly suggest you try with the largest guard you have with your lever open, and then freehand it. Slowly and gradually, then you can close your lever, smaller guards, and then place the guard on the actual scalp of your client. Don't go in with the number 2 right away. Be like, Rick told me this. Yeah, Rick also told you something else. So just make sure you kind of guide yourself when doing stuff like that. All right, now that we've got the area underneath our top of our hair completely blended, nice and clean, number 3 on the sides, blended into the, I guess you could say, 4 area, we're gonna go ahead and drop the top. What I'm gonna do here is I wanna do a nice classic gentleman's haircut. So what we wanna do is kind of comb it backwards like so, give it a nice clean classic look, like a nice pomp. So to do so, I'm just gonna damp the hair a little bit to get it to go flow in the direction that I want. Now that we got the hair going in the direction that I'd like to style it, what I want to do now is come in and trim the top. I'm not a fan of shears, guys. The reason I don't like personally using shears is because every time I picked up a pair of shears, I would cut my fingers. You feel me? I know you do. So because of that, what I've been using is my Wahl Sterling Big Mag. This clipper here is like a pair of shears. Actually, like a pair of 26 shears, because there's 26 teeth on here that when I turn on, go straight back and forth and cut as nice and clean as possible. And here's the benefit of that. When they're on and you touch yourself with them, you won't cut yourself. So I turn them upside down, facing my inner forearm because if I get too close, I want to make sure to not tap into my customer's hair. If I was holding them like so, that could accidentally happen. I want to make sure that doesn't. So I turn in this way, go as close as possible with them on, holding them as you would your shears, but with my clippers here. Getting my guide. Starting from the bottom of my tooth. What's the rule about the second knuckle? Don't go past it, right? You gotta know the rules before you can break the rules. Once I get past the second knuckle, then I turn my clipper sideways and get that nice, clean, blunt cut. Turn my clipper sideways. There you go. Yep. Continuing to bring that back all the way to the nape area. Want to do the same thing back here. Some of you guys are right now probably questioning, Rick, why are you turning your clipper sideways? Let me show you why. Let me grab a little section here. Show you guys exactly why I'm doing that. So, I got my section of my hair here. If I went straight across the way we assumed you would cut with clippers, just like you would shears, right? If I went straight across, I'm gonna show you. Look at this. Look at this. What happened past that second knuckle? It never cut anything past that second knuckle. Why do you think that is? Anyone? Anyone? It's like that because of the tension we have in our fingers. The tension we have in the front of our fingers is not the same as we have in the back of our fingers. I don't care if you're thumb war wrestling champ, you do not have those tensions, okay? So because of that, what I do is to make up for that. Once I get past that second knuckle, I then turn that clipper towards me. That's gonna allow for it all to be cut nice and even. So with that being said, we'll continue to bring that back, our guide from the opposite side of the hair, bring it all the way back to the front, making sure the hair is as blended and as nice and clean as possible. I'm gonna do that same technique all the way around the perimeter of the hair, of the head, I'm sorry. Now, another cool thing about these clippers, as you notice, I'm keeping them on as I'm working because I'm not too worried about the battery dying because we have a 90-minute life, 90-minute full charge life on these clippers here. 90 minutes will go a long time, guys. I know some of you guys right now might be saying 90 minutes doesn't seem that long though, Rick. I agree, but when not in use, you turn them off and keep them on the charger. Keep them plugged in. Say, why would you do that? You may mess up the battery, kind of like your phones. Nope, we sure won't. Why? Because each one of our cordless clippers have a built-in chip. That chip tells our clippers when it's 100% charged, and when it is, it turns itself off. It stops charging itself. Yep, that's right. There's a blue light right here on just about all of our cordless clippers. When the blue light is on, that means it's charging. When the blue light turns off, that means your clipper is now completely charged and no longer needs to be plugged in, or it can stay plugged in because we've got chips built in that stop the charging process from messing up your batteries. Oh yeah. So now that we've got the perimeter just as nice and clean as I'd like, what I want to do is damp the hair just a little more. To get the angle, the style that I'm going for. And then still using my Wahl 1919s, I'm now gonna grab my number 3 guard. I'm gonna try it with my number 3, and then we'll work from there. We may have to work down to my number 2, but this is a customer that I have never cut his hair. So because I've never cut this customer's hair, I don't know how the number 3 or 4 will work on his type of texture of hair, the density of his hair. On a new customer, I'm always going 1 guard up. Always going 1 guard up and then working my way down. On a regular client, we both know, we know exactly what works for them. But on a new client, I wanna make sure, so I always go 1 bit up. You say, Rick, why do you do that? Because I can never put back that hair. Once I cut it off, I can't take it off. I can't put it back on, I'm sorry. Because if I could, I'd probably put some back on me first. So, clipper over combing with my number 3 guard. Blending, now I'm blending in majority of the top of the hair into the bottom of the hair that we did earlier. One thing I want you guys to be aware of, some of y'all may be seeing this right now and be like, Rick, you're doing it all wrong. That's not how I do it. It's not wrong, it's just different. Some of y'all might be like, I like that technique right now. Great, run with it. Guys, the cool thing about our industry and what I love so much about what we do is no matter how you get, how you accomplish it, the techniques you're using to get to the final product, guess what? In my eyes, don't really matter. What matters the most is the final product. How your client feels when they look in that mirror and have that big smile on their face because you just gave them confidence. That's what we are, guys. We're confidence builders. We cut hair for a living, but our actual job occupation, I would believe we are confidence builders. Because when our clients leave our chairs, they just feel better about themselves, don't they? So, getting all that as nice and clean and blended as possible. Still with my number 3 guard. I still got that number 3 guard on my Wahl 1919 with my lever closed. The lever is still closed here. Now what I want to do is show you guys a cool little trick. On my big mags, there's a lever, except it's not on the side like normally, like we would see. It's actually back here. Right now, when it's all the way to my left, that lever makes it a true 0. When it's all the way to my right, now we have that blade at a half setting. And what I want to do with that is show you guys a cool technique. It's not necessarily clipper over comb. I call it raking, because clipper over comb, we would have the blade go directly on the comb and go like so, just like so. What I do here is I get the tip of the blade and rake the comb like so. So this is what I call raking. You say, well, Rick, that sounds really cool, but what exactly is that doing? That is essentially thinning the hair out, thinning the parietal ridge area out. A lot of barbers and stylists, what we do after we think we got the haircut as nice and clean as possible is you get thinning shears. Not all of us, but some of us, we get thinning shears. And we go around the parietal ridge to soften that blend up a little bit. Remember earlier, guys, I told you guys I do not use shears for anything. Yeah, even thinning shears. So because of that, I had to come up with a technique with my big mags that would give it the same feel, the same look as thinning shears. And this is what I came up with, and it's been working ever since. And you just rake it like so. You don't have to go nice and slow. You can kind of be a little aggressive with it. Because what this is doing is essentially helping us blend in the top of the hair to the sides of the hair. I'm loving the way this is coming out right now, guys. All right, now what I want to do is just trim a little bit more right here on the sides. Using my technique that we showed earlier in the video. Once we get past that second knuckle, we then turn it to get the blend, to get the cut actually, nice and precise. There we go. Nice and clean. Take off just a tad bit more in the back area as well. All right, guys, now I'm gonna trim the top of the hair just a little bit because I want it to pop. I want that pop going. So I do want to keep some length here, but we've already blended the perimeter of the head. We blended the top into the sides. Now I want to trim up the top a little bit, still using my Wahl Big Mags. So once again, turning them on, facing towards me, grabbing a section, getting my guide, and then just bringing it back. Now I'm using these clippers, the Big Mags, just as if you were shears. Grabbing your section, finding your guide, and then matching it up. Getting your section, finding your guide, matching it up. Same technique, guys. The biggest difference is that my shears won't cut me. Grab that middle section, bringing it back. Coming right back to the front, bringing that right back again. Last and final section here. And then what we want to do is just come back and, like anything, cross-check our work. I like to do the cross-check. It's coming down the center. Bring it around to the sides. Back around here. And just make sure that it's all nice, clean, and even. So now what I want to do for some of the finishing touches, I'm going to grab my Wahl Cordless Detailer Li. This by far is my favorite trimmer right now. Number one, because it's got a T-wide blade. My T-wide blade allows me to get more coverage with less strokes. Meaning, when doing an edge up front, it may take me only 4 strokes versus 5 or 6 strokes on a regular blade. So this is gonna save me a lot of time. Not only that, it's super precise. We'll get as nice and clean as possible. So I'm just gonna trim up the sideburns, go around the ears, and then line up the nape area as well. And then we'll do a little styling up top. Cleaning up right around the sideburn area, giving us a nice little small arch. Going around the ear. And then doing the same on the opposite side. Giving a nice little arch. I mean, the best we can do on a mannequin head, right? Around the ear. Into the nape area. and in the back area as well. Nice, clean lineup. All right, guys, now that we wrapped up the haircut, what I wanna do is a little styling. And for that, I'm gonna make a little cocktail. That's right, with some Wahl 1919 pomade. I'm gonna put a little dab, just a little bit, nothing too much. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of the MAC control cream. Just a tad bit as well. That's all we need. Mix them up with my hand. Because of the MAC control, it's gonna be a little white, and then the pomade's gonna make it creamy. And then I'm gonna come in here and mix it all in my client's hair. Whoops. Mix it all in my client's hair. Now that I got it all in there, still just my regular Wahl comb. I don't need a styling comb for this, guys. A styling comb would be great, right? But it's definitely not needed. Helps, of course. Now the cool thing about this comb is if I go straight back like so, it leaves it slicked back. All right, so now all I'm doing is styling the hair using my Wahl comb. Instead of using it like a comb like so, I'm kind of using it in the upward position, and this allows me to get more control of the fuller hair. And with that being said, guys, this haircut is a wrap. Just a little recap. We used my Wahl 1919 cordless metal edition to cut the perimeter of the hair. We also blended it with this exact same clipper. I then came back with my Wahl Big Mags. Used them just like shears. Showed you guys how I use my Big Mags like shears. Showed you guys how I use them as thinning shears. Trimmed the top, styled it, made it all nice and clean. Then came back with what I like to call my favorite trimmer, the Wahl Detailer Li. Lined up my model, cleaned them all up, came back with a little cocktail contraption with my Wahl 1919 products, and we're good to go.